Hello everybody, Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am ridiculously excited, and you might be wondering why that is. Actually, you guys already know why that is. That is because the new Evolutions TCG set came out with all of the old reprint cards from base set. I mean, apart from the Blastoise and Venusaur, but I mean, that's something else. But either way, I am so freaking excited right now because this new set came out. I mean, you are able to just get cards that are reprints of old cards in the base set, like Switch, DCE, all of those with the old art, and they are now in the TCG game, which really just brings a level of nostalgia that I have not had in a very, very long time. And admittedly, I kind of thought that I wouldn't be able to bring you a deck video today because the set was released 2 days earlier than anticipated, and for whatever reason it's not available in the TCG shop. I checked there and the packs aren't available. As you can see, I saved up a bunch of coins for this, and that I'm unfortunately just sitting on right now because I wasn't able to buy Evolutions packs in the shop, like I said. But luckily, my order for some codes came through very, very clutch, and I was able to get enough cards to be able to put out a deck video on the day that Evolutions is released, and that is something that I am just incredibly excited for. I know I've said excited like 30,000 times, but when you get to open those packs and see all the original artwork, I mean, it just brings me back to when I was like, I don't even know. I was like 8 years old. No, I wasn't even 8 years old. I was like 6, 7 years old opening my first pack of Pokemon cards. And that's just a level of nostalgia that I have not felt in a very, very long time. So it was really cool to take something that I am doing now on TCGO and doing it for a channel and be able to bring back from my childhood all of those different types of cards. But anyway, you guys don't really want to hear me talk about the nostalgia. You guys want to hear me talk about the deck that I am building, and that is a deck centered around the Mega Charizard EX. And yes, this is a reprint, but this full art is not a reprint. This is the sickest full art I think I've ever seen. That replaces the Gardevoir EX that I used to say was my favorite. This is now the coolest artwork I've ever seen. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, and maybe subscribe. It helps us out a lot and lets us do more for you guys. And as for the question of the day, I know I've asked this question before, but considering the set is now out and you guys have probably had a chance to at least look into it a little bit more as opposed to just on Bulbapedia or something like that, I can ask the question, what are you most excited about from Evolutions? Honestly, I'm most excited for no particular card. I'm just excited for the artwork because, I mean, look at that. That is base set DCE, like base set Switch, all of those guys. And even the reflective holographic for the reverse hollows is really, really cool and such a throwback. And honestly, the set isn't the most competitive. It's probably the least competitive set that's come out since I've been playing TCG. But nonetheless, this is still a very cool set that can potentially do some damage in rogue decks. Anyway, on to the deck. After 3 minutes of me just rambling, I apologize. But like I said, this is centered around Mega Charizard EX. 220 HP, and actually I'm running two different ones just for different scenarios. This is actually more centered around this one, the one from Generation, just because I think this guy's a little bit better than the other Mega Charizards. Heat Typhoon for 1 fire, and 3 DCE does 100 plus 50 for each fire energy attached. Well, granted that you have to flip a coin. So flip a coin for every fire energy attached to this guy, and it does 50 damage for each head. So it has potential for an insane amount of damage if you get enough fire energy on there. I mean, even just 2 fire energy into DCE, you have the potential for 200 damage, and 2 fire energy into DCE really is not that overly difficult to get. I've actually gotten it quite a few times testing this deck out, so that's actually the main guy that this deck is centered around. But I would be amiss if I did not throw in a full art Mega Charizard EX from Evolutions with the Crimson Dive 300, and this guy isn't just in here for nostalgia value. If you run up against a deck where you're like, Heat Typhoon really isn't doing it for me, I just need to knock some stuff out in one hit, then this guy is the way to go. Admittedly, Crimson Dive does have the nasty side effect of this Pokemon doing 50 damage to itself, so that's something you don't necessarily like and you only want to use this guy when necessary. But if you're up against another Mega deck that requires a good amount of energy, if you just start Crimson Diving and one-shotting literally everything in the game, I don't think there is a single mon or scenario in which something can survive a hit from Mega Charizard EX. I mean, apart from a Focus Sash, but that got rotated out. Crimson Dive is just okay, I want this thing gone. I'm going to get rid of it right now, and that is why this guy is in here as a one of while we're running 2 of the Heat Typhoon. As for the rest of the Pokemon, we're running 2 Shaman because Shaman is Shaman and his Shaman is ridiculously good. 3-3 of Charizard and Mega Charizard. You don't really want to run 4-4 just because that would clog things up a little bit. And I am using this really cool promo Charizard just because I love the artwork on this thing, and I was kind of bummed that they didn't print this in the English set of evolutions. I know they did it in the Japanese set, but either way, we got them as promos, so I decided to use this guy. And then, honestly, powering up Crimson Dive and Heat Typhoon can take a couple turns. I mean, potentially 2 turns in the absolute perfect scenario, like DCE, then using a Mega Turbo, and then manually attaching in 2 turns. You can potentially get a Heat Typhoon up turn 2. However, that's really not the best way to go about it, so I decided to throw in a couple guys that already have great synergy with one another, and that is Volcanion with the Power Heater as our method of acceleration from the discard pile, and then also 2 copies of Volcanion EX. Now this guy you can definitely get rid of. I mean, honestly, I haven't used him that much, but really Steam Up is not that bad of an ability at all. It's actually a really good ability, especially early game when you're powering up stuff with Volcanion. Just going for a 50 damage power heater as opposed to a 20 damage is huge. It makes a huge difference. And then also, if you find yourself having to Combustion Blast or Wing Attack with Charizard EX, a 1 Steam Up Combustion Blast hits for 180. That knocks out all non-Zygarde and non-Mega EXs, so that's just something to keep in mind. However, you do not want to put these guys on your bench too much. One on the bench is generally my rule of thumb, if that. You never want to have 2. I'm just running 2 so I can have them if I need them, but only ever put one of these guys on the bench. And because we are running a Mega deck, might as well throw in a Hoopa EX in there to grab Shamans and Charizards or Mega Charizards, really just whatever you need in whatever situation. As for the items, I'm running 1-1 of Escape Rope and Switch because these guys all have pretty hefty retreat costs, and unfortunately Charizard and Mega Charizard cannot have Float Stone on them if I want to attack with them. Actually, this Mega Charizard only has a 1 retreat cost, which is really nice compared to, that's a regular Charizard, compared to this Mega Charizard, which has 3, so that's another drawback of this guy. This is just personal preference. Do whatever you guys want with that. That is completely up to you. But either way, Volcanion is 3, this Volcanion has 2, Hoopa has 2, so Switch and Escape Rope you definitely want to run, especially because you can't run Float Stone on Charizards because they will be having the Spirit Links attached. Running 2 Mega Turbo to help power up Charizards as quickly as possible, especially because with Volcanion and Scorched Earth, we will have a lot of fire energy in the discard pile, so that is just one way to get them from the discard pile onto the Mega Charizards while also using Volcanion. Running 4 Trainer's Mail to help with consistency, 4 Ultra Ball to get everything out, 4 VS Seeker to reuse our supporters, and as for the supporters, you see me running the 4-2 of N and Sycamore, or Sycamore and N, I guess is the proper order for that. I mean, this is my general line of supporters, 4-1-2-1 with 1 of Pokemon Ranger and Lysander. I mean, that is just completely opinion. Do whatever you guys want. This is just the line that I am most comfortable with and is generally the line I stick with. And then I'm also running 1 Hex Maniac. Really, that just depends on what type of matchup you're worried about more. I am more worried about facing Carbink than something else, so I decided to run Hex Maniac. You can also run Pokemon Center Lady to help mitigate the 50 damage that Charizard does to itself with Crimson Dive and give it a little more longevity. But again, that is completely up to you. This was just my opinion. I had been running into too many Carbinks during my testing, so Pokemon Center Lady was nixed for Hex Maniac, but really, that is a flex spot. You can do whatever you want with that. As for the stadium, running Scorched Earth to get fire energy into the discard pile. Because this is not really centered around Volcanion EX, we can't really worry about those guys or rely on those guys to get the fire energy into the discard pile for Mega Turbo or Power Heater. So Scorched Earth helps us with draw power and also getting energy into the discard pile. And then look at this. Is this not ridiculously sick artwork for the Spirit Link? I mean, you have the Mega Charizard Y, Mega Charizard X. I mean, that is so ridiculously cool. This set is so awesome. I'm so excited that it has come out and I've been able to get enough cards to make a couple decks with it, and I'm really excited to bring it for you guys. But yeah, running 3 Charizard Spirit Links. Sorry, I was gushing for a little bit. For the 3 Mega Charizards, 2 Float Stone, 4 Volcanion, Hoopa, Baby Volcanion, really whatever you want to put those guys on and whichever you think is more likely to get Lysandered active. 3 DCE, and this might seem a little bit counterintuitive just because Heat Typhoon relies on fire energy to do more damage, but really DCE is just to speed up the process in which you are able to get an attack off, and also helps out with Crimson Dive, not having to put 5 fire energy on this guy and then instead just 3 and a DCE. So really that's just in there to speed things up. If you find that you don't like it, then remove it, but in my experience, DCE was very worth a spot in this deck, and then 9 fire energy because that is what the deck is reliant on. And wow, I rambled for way too long. I'm super excited to use this deck. Let's hopefully get some good matches and go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Sephiriad? I don't know how to say it. But either way, we do get to go first. It looks like we're up against a Dark and Psychic deck, so it's probably like some form of Yveltal, Garbodor. We do win the coin flip. That is great for us, and we actually don't start with too bad of a hand, to be honest. I mean, I will get a Volcanion out. I can... do I want to put it on the bench? Nah, I think I'll save it. I'll save it for this turn just because, I mean, I go first anyway. There's no danger of N, and my opponent starts with an Umbreon. That's a little bit scary because if I get a bunch of damage racked up on my Charizards, then that could put me in a bad position. But let's go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of the Fire Energy and the VS Seeker to grab a Hoopa because I can grab a couple Charizards and a Shaman, be able to play down my Spirit Link onto that guy, and I can even... Yep, Shaman and 2 Charizards. And then I can even potentially play the Volcanion if I want to. I actually don't think that would be the right play just because it really... Yeah, actually, yeah, why not? Put the Umbreon in range, put pressure on the Umbreon is what I'm trying to say. Can't talk. And, ooh, a Shaman into a pretty gross hand. Don't get a supporter. I mean, I get the Lysander, which is technically a supporter, so I guess I did technically get a supporter, but not a draw supporter, which is what I really wanted. And I do have a Mega Charizard in my hand for next turn. I can Mega Evolve my Charizard on the bench. I'm hoping my opponent ends or something, and oh no, we see the Fright Knight Yveltal. That guy could be a problem. I mean, honestly, even if I just get a Fire Energy, I'll be okay, and we even see the Parallel City. Well, actually, this kind of opens up another option for me, because if I can top deck a Scorched Earth or something like that, then I'll be able to play that down, Ultra Ball for the Shaman, go ahead and get a couple more cards off of the Shaman, and then go from there, hopefully get a draw supporter then. But either way, I mean, I'm off to a decent start. I obviously would have preferred a draw supporter, but this isn't a horrible situation for me. I mean, granted, I am very much in top deck mode, but I have enough outs to start doing stuff to where I don't think that being in top deck mode is necessarily the worst thing in the world at this point. I mean, I say that and then I'll probably draw into another Spirit Link or something like that to where I just can't do anything at all. And okay, my opponent gets an Yveltal EX. That is going to be kind of bad because both my Mega Charizards require quite a bit of energy to be powered up, so I will have to snipe that thing down. Okay, never mind, I won't have to snipe that thing down because my opponent just forfeits, and we are going to take an easy game one. I mean, easy because my opponent really just forfeited during their first turn, and I didn't have to respond to much at all or make too many ridiculous plays. So, I mean, yeah, that doesn't really count. You saw me get a pretty decent setup. Let's hopefully find another match where I get set up a little bit better and it lasts more than a turn and like a half. Alrighty, we have found one against Optimus Prime. That's funny. Optimus Prime instead of Optimus Prime. Would that be like a Optimus Prime as a rabbit? Then that would be Okay, I'm sorry. That was a very horrible joke. You can go ahead and click X because, I mean, that was such a bad joke that you deserve to just leave, never come back, don't look back. I apologize again. But either way, let's just go ahead and get into the match. Hopefully I won't make any more horrible jokes. And alrighty, we start with all 3 of our Charizards. Well, that is something. That's really... Wow. Started with all 3 Charizards, Volcanion, and Mega Charizard. Well, I mean, at least I have a draw supporter this match, so that is not the worst thing in the world. Let's go ahead and Trainer's Mail, grab... do I want to grab the Switch? You know what, I think I'll grab the N just because, I mean, I have Float Stone. I really don't need... Oh, I can't attack first turn. And it looks like we're up against a Hoopa, so this is probably a Mega Alakazam deck. That's kind of annoying, but if my opponent... Actually, this could be a potentially decent matchup, because if he's able to overrun me early, then I will not have much of a chance. But if I'm able to get some stuff down and get my Mega Charizards going up round 2, or turn 2, not round 2, and just start one-shotting all of his Mega Alakazams, then I will be in an excellent, excellent position. I do have to worry about this Hoopa spreading enough damage to where the Mega Alakazam could be a problem. And okay, so I don't get much at all. Yeah, let's just go ahead and grab the Ultra Ball. You know what? I think I'm just going to sit on my hand. Maybe if I can top deck a Spirit Link, then I can Ultra Ball for a Mega Charizard, or if I have to Ultra Ball for a Shaman or something like that. My opponent, okay, this is very, yeah, it's obviously a Mega Alakazam deck. You know why I know that? Because we see the Alakazams on the bench and the Alakazam Spirit Link. So if this is not a Mega Alakazam deck, then I'm kind of worried about my opponent's sanity. But if it is, then this could be a pretty rough matchup, because if we can get going early, then we will absolutely run through them, in my opinion. However, if my opponent is able to spread enough damage around with Kinesis and Hoopa to where he can start one-shotting my Charizards, his Alakazams take less to power up than my Charizards, so at that point he will be able to just start racking up the damage on me. And I'm kind of in a peculiar spot as to whether or not I want to run my Mega Charizard Y or my Mega Charizard X, just because those guys are very different. Mega Charizard Y will put the damage on itself, making it a heck of a lot easier. I mean, that even just the 50 damage that Charizard puts on itself from Crimson Dive is enough to power up Mega Alakazam's attack by 150 damage, and that is not something I want at all. So I think I'm going to start going for the Heat Typhoon Charizards, and then if I can get set up decently later, I will go from there. Drawn to another VS Seeker. That's not exactly what I wanted, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of the Fire Energy to grab the Charizard EX. So these Charizards are starting to get hit by Hoopa. I want to have the Charizard that I start attacking with be as fresh as possible, because if I can somehow get a fresh Charizard up and attacking and all of that, then I'm actually in a very, very good position against this Alakazam deck, because the Mega Alakazam relies on damage already being on Pokemon in order to knock it out. So if I can somehow keep that Charizard from getting damaged, then I will be okay. I will get a turn 2 Power Heater with Volcanion, start powering up. Actually, I'll be able to get 2 energy onto 2 Charizards, so that wasn't a bad turn by any means. My opponent will be able to get another attack off with Hoopa, spread some more damage around, which is a little bit annoying, but really, if I can just get a Charizard powered up and just start running through him, then I think I will be somewhat okay. The only problem is, at this point, with only 2 Fire Energy, even if I flip 2 heads, Charizard will not be able to one-shot Mega Alakazam because it has 210 as opposed to 200, which I would really, really like. But either way, I think I'm just going to stick with that game plan, get the Heat Typhoon Charizard up, start damaging all of my opponent's Alakazams, and potentially just run through my opponent's team with a what was I going to say? Potentially run through my opponent's team with Crimson Dive Charizard if I can later in the game. So Crimson Dive Charizard will not be good early game, just because my opponent is set up pretty well, and I only want to use that guy when it's like, okay, my opponent has 1 Mega Alakazam that he's attacking with, he has nothing set up on the bench, I need to send this guy out, take a knockout on that, take a knockout on another Alakazam, and hopefully win the game at that point. One thing that actually is worth noting is that I can one-shot an Alakazam EX with a Combustion Blast with a Steam Up. So I mean, that's something that's actually kind of cool in this scenario. But again, I think my 100% best play is to get set up as quickly as possible with my Mega Charizards and then run through my opponent with one of those guys. And this is a situation where a Pokemon Center Lady would come in really handy, because having that guy onto a Charizard would just eliminate all of the damage my opponent, well, 90% of the damage anyway, that my opponent would put on there with Kinesis and Hoopa's attack and everything. So this was a situation where Pokemon Center Lady would be nice. Of course, as soon as I get rid of it and start recording, I run into a situation where it would be better than Hex Maniac. But I mean, you can't win them all. And my opponent is going to attach to the Mega Alakazam. And This opens a... Oh, that's not what I wanted to see right now. I wanted a Spirit Link. Haha. Darn it. So my opponent doesn't have a good hand. So, I mean, I don't want to end him, but at the same time, I don't want to get to the Mega Turbo, but I think that that's the better option. And okay, so I will be able to get a Heat Typhoon up turn 2. My opponent will not be able to retaliate with a Mega Alakazam. I'm just going to grab the other Float Stone in case my opponent tries to do some Lysander shenanigans. Ultra Ball, get rid of the Lysander. Lysander and VS Seeker, I hate to do that, but I don't know. I think the DCE is just better for being able to try to get another Charizard powered up. And of course, Sycamore is an excellent card for obvious draw support. So I think I'm just going to do that. Go ahead and retreat into my Charizard on the bench. Go for the Heat Typhoon. Get, well, unfortunately only... Oh, okay. So, I mean, unfortunately I wasn't able to knock it out, but I was still able to get a Heads, which is nice, meaning that I don't have to flip a Heads next turn to be able to knock out this Mega Alakazam. Unfortunately, I would still have to go for a double Steam Up to get rid of that with Hoopa. I don't know. I'm just trying to think long term. Either way, my opponent would need... What would he need? He would need 2 Alakazams. He would need 2 Mega Alakazams and... Oh, actually, that's all he needs is 2 Mega Alakazams and an energy to be able to knock out my Mega Charizard this turn. So that's something that I'm a little bit scared of, and I realize that I'm in a... well, because my opponent's having a Super Rod, that means that he probably doesn't have the Mega Alakazam, or he would have played that down immediately. Well, he has... Okay, never mind. I'm just going to shut up right now. He can do 160 to me, but that will not knock me out. He needs another Mega Alakazam and an energy to be able to knock me out this turn, and he's starting to pile damage onto the Charizards on the bench. I don't know why he's going for the one with the Float Stone. That guy is not going to be doing anything for me at all. And okay, my opponent is just going to go for the Hoopa. He does have to get rid of the energy on the Alakazam, so that is phenomenal for me. And yeah, so that means he's just a turn behind. He clearly didn't get the energy, or at least I don't think he did. Otherwise, he would have attacked with that Alakazam and gotten huge amounts of damage on my Charizard to where just a simple attack, a 20 from Hoopa, would be able to knock me out. So got a little bit fortunate on that turn. Well, I guess he's realizing what he's doing. He's going to start getting damage onto the other Charizard that could potentially become a Mega Charizard. And then I am just going to Sycamore, discard none, high five for myself. I would actually high five, but that would probably cause something to go weird with the microphone, and I really don't want to just start smacking things around with the snowball right near me, because that thing is precious and I don't want to get rid of it. I do have an escape rope though, so that means, ooh, that's really nice, because I'll be able to bring in, well, if he brings in Shaman, I can almost guarantee get a knockout. If he brings in Shaman or the Alakazam, I'll get a knockout. He has to promote his Alakazam, his Mega Alakazam with no energy, or the Hoopa. He does choose to promote the Hoopa. I'm just going to promote my Volcanion with no energy on it. Go ahead and Trainer's Mail, grab the... Do you want to grab the Mega Turbo? Nah, I'm just going to grab the Scorched Earth. Go ahead and play that down. I am running kind of low on cards, but you know what? I'm kind of okay with it, just because I will be taking... Because with this deck, you'll be taking all your prizes in rapid succession, and plus I do have an N this turn anyway. Well, I do have an N for when I run out of... what am I trying to say? I do have an N for when I get low on cards, and I can just throw all those guys back into my deck. And I will be able to get 150 damage on this Hoopa, to where my Volcanion can knock out the Hoopa next turn with a Power Heater, and also be able to power up more Charizards on the bench. So that is actually pretty cool. I mean, I'm fipping, guys. I'm fipping. I am flipping 50-50 with coins right now, so that's a lot better than I usually do, so I'm just going to kind of roll with it. I'm in a pretty solid situation right now. My opponent has to have a Float Stone or a Switch or something to get that Hoopa out of the active spot, and he cannot attack with a Mega Alakazam this turn unless he has a regular energy, unless he has an energy and a Mega Turbo. Sorry, that card completely slipped my mind for a second. And why? Okay, so my opponent will get another Mega Alakazam up, but at this point he will not be able to get any more Mega Alakazams with Kinesis. Well, he won't be able to get any more damage with Kinesis because all of his Mega Alakazams are already evolved. And yeah, I'm in a very... Well, oh, it goes with the... Ooh, does my opponent not have anything? I mean, he could just be playing the Devolution Spray to play it, but it looks like my opponent doesn't have anything, so we're in a very, very good spot right now. We're in a very good spot because what I can do is, I think, well, I'm obviously going to Scorched Earth, get a couple more cards, get another Fire Energy in the discard pile. My opponent Lysander's in the Shaman. Okay, well, never mind. There goes that, but I am just going to go ahead and play the Shaman. I'm not going to Scorched Earth because I don't want to draw too thin. And plus, this way I will already have the 2 Fire Energy in the discard pile that I need for my Volcanion's Power Heater to do its maximum damage. Well, to not do maximum damage, but to be used to its maximum effect. Go ahead and get 1 energy on that Charizard, get another energy on the Power Heater, and now I am a single energy away from being able to Crimson Dive with the Charizard on the bench. I have another Charizard with Power Heater, being able to do all of those shenanigans. And I can potentially get another energy on my Power Heater Mega Charizard. Not Power Heater, Heat Typhoon Mega Charizard, to be able to hit for even more damage and potentially have a much better shot at one-shotting a Mega Alakazam, because I would need 3 heads, but I mean, that's attainable. That is definitely attainable. My opponent is playing very smart right here. He already knows that he has the damage on my Mega Charizards and my Charizard EX on the bench to be knocked out with Mega Alakazam, but okay, he does just promote the... Well, I mean, he promoted the regular Mega Alakazam. If I can get my Crimson Dive Charizard, then I can take 2 more prizes. And I'm in a... unfortunately, I have 3 VS Seekers already used. My Lysander's in the discard pile. So I will have to rely on that 1 Lysander to bring out... I think the Shaman is going to be what I bring out. And he does just retreat into his Hoopa to be able to get some more damage on some stuff, I guess. I mean, I don't know what he's really going for damage on. I mean, I guess that's a smart play. He's trying to get more damage on my Hoopa to where, not Hoopa, my Volcanion, to where he can potentially knock it out with a Mega Alakazam if he gets it up, and then he's just going to try to start sniping my Shaman. And okay, I don't get the Crimson Dive one. That's fine. I think what I'm going to do, I want to play the DCE. Actually, this Volcanion's retreat cost is only 2, so I'm just going to attach Fire Energy to this guy, go ahead and manually retreat into my Mega Charizard, go for the Mega Turbo to put another energy on this Charizard to potentially knock out more Alakazams, and this is exactly why I love this Mega Charizard, and this match is going exactly how I said it would. If I could get a Charizard powered up and knock out his main attacker, it'll take him 2 turns to power up a Mega Alakazam, and by then, hopefully, I will just have powered up my Charizards enough to run through him. My opponent does end. Can I get my Crimson Dive Mega Charizard? Because if I do, that will be phenomenal, because then I can one-shot a Mega Alakazam, and oh, that is gorgeous. That is ridiculously gorgeous. Oh man, I was going to be able to go ahead and put the Mega Charizard down onto my Charizard on the bench, play the DCE, and knock out that Mega Alakazam, be 2 prizes away, and yep, Mega Charizard was able to come through. Once I was able to get set up, my opponent really just couldn't keep up. Admittedly, he did draw kind of poor, which was unfortunate, but I was stuck for a turn or 2 here and there, so ultimately, Charizard was able to get powered up and then just blast through my opponent's, the entirety of my opponent's setup. So, Mega Alakazam, you were no match for Mega Charizard. I am sorry. And I hope you guys really did enjoy this video. I know I enjoyed opening all of these packs and being able to bring you an Evolutions deck immediately. This set is amazing. Admittedly, it's not very competitive at all. I don't think there's much competitive value to it at all. I think the best card is Brock's Grit, and that is just kind of a super rod on steroids. Either way, I still hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys are enjoying this set. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Leave your answer to the question of the day in the comments section below, and why. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. And this is Styx, signing out. Why not? See you guys.